Meeting father in Plymouth. Young, yet nature. For her 7 years, Sarah hurried walk onto the handmaid. The ship would take her and her family across the ocean to meet their father in a settlement called Plymouth Colony. Last minute, the handmaid left Leyden, Holland on August 10, 1630. The ship landed at Plymouth Colony on October 29, 1630. How many days did it take the ship to travel to Plymouth Colony? Hand in hand, she walked with her mother and four brothers onto the ship. Sari thought about her father. He had made the ocean trip in March. It was now August, and she could not wait to see him. Sarah knew the journey would be long. Plymouth Colony was far away. It was on the other side of the ocean. Her mother said it would take the ship almost 12 weeks to get there. Sarah's father had left England with other planters, or men who worked with crops. They sailed to Plymouth on a ship called the Lion. Sarah and her family were Puritans. They sailed to Plymouth hoping to be free to follow their religion. In England, they did not support many of King's decisions, though the King did not support them. So they had left England to stay in Holland until they could make the journey to Plymouth. What would Plymouth be like? Would it be like living in England? Asked Sarah's brother John. I hope so, answered Sarah. Just like her brother, she wanted life in Plymouth to be much the same as life in England. Sarah was sad to leave her friend Jane and Anna. She hoped she would make new friends in Plymouth, even though she had heard that only a few children lived there. Sarah crawled into her bunk bed next to her mother. It was cramped and dark. She closed her eyes and dreamed of seeing her father again. For more than 80 nights she closed her eyes, and on 80 morning opened them to see nothing but the sea. Then, on the morning of October 29, she opened them to a loud cry. Land! Ho! Sarah jumped up and tugged excitedly on her mother's arm. Mother, mother, we are here, we are here, she cried. Sarah leaped out of her bed and charged out onto the ship deck. Her brothers were on her heels. Everyone was eager to see the new land and most eager to see their father. Soon the ship reached the rocky coast and pulled up to a dock in a small harbor at the edge of the settlement. Sarah stood on her tiptoes, looking over the ship's side, searching the dock for her father. Her mother and brother gathered their few belongings. Everyone on the handmaid was tired from the journey, but they were all happy to be off the ocean and even more excited to join their loved one. Sarah searched frantically for her father. When she spotted him, she wanted to run down the ramp, but she didn't. Puritan children were not encouraged to show their feeling. Sarah, how was your trip? Asked father. Sarah was glad her father spoke to her, for she knew it would be not be polite to speak first. Father, I have missed you so much. We were very worried about you. Sarah's mother and brother caught up and joined the reunion. As the family gathered their belongings and walked toward their new home, Sarah's father talked about some of his new experience. It has been very hard, but I have learned a lot, said father. In this new land, I am not only a planter as I was in England, but also a builder, a hunter, and a, and at times a cook. Sarah looked around her. Her new home looked a little like England, but it smelled different. Some of the trees looked the same, and there were rocks along the coast. Sarah knew her house was much smaller than their house in England. There was no glass in Plymouth, so the windows were made of wax paper. In England, her home was made of stone, and here it was made of tree trunk and bark. Luckily, she had brought her own blanket from England, and it comforted her. The next day, Sarah helped her mother cook and sew just as she had back in England. But they had to be careful not to lose any of the small sewing needle because there was a limited supply. Her father and older brother helped another new family build a house. With so many people of all age helping, they were done in a couple of days. Soon her father was back in the field, tending to the corn, beans, and squash. Sarah's brother helped gather wood from the forest for the fire. They never had to do that in England. When will we go to school as we did in England, father? Asked Clara. First, we must make sure that everyone in Plymouth has a home and food to eat. Until then, your mother will treat it to you. Sarah liked that. She thought that even though things were more different than alike between Plymouth and England, she was going to like living here.